Last November, I traveled from Paris all the way to San Francisco with a very simple question. How are the best tech companies in the world actually using AI inside their products? I have met and interviewed dozens of tech and product profiles from the best startups in the Silicon Valley. What I found wasn't a better technology, it was a different way of building. Designers writing code, engineers prototyping in real time, teams shipping fast and learning even faster. In the Valley, speed isn't a goal, it's the default. And the message I kept hearing was clear. The gap between US and Europe isn't about talent, it's about mindset. So I packed my suitcase again, and now I'm in Barcelona, the center of the European ecosystem, to test that assumption. Is Europe really falling behind, or are we simply building differently? To answer that, I came to the AI Summit, the biggest AI event in Europe. And what better way to start this documentary than by talking to the people behind the event? Okay, so I'm here with David, my co-founder at Stellar, and Jeremy. They are both part of the team organizing the event. So I've got a first question to ask you, David. What made you want to create this event in the first place?
Yeah, it's a bit a crazy story because it's been like 4 years where we've been living in Barcelona with Jeremy, and we're seeing like the tech ecosystem growing. I think like Barcelona is the only city where like the amount of raised by startups is growing increasingly. And we were at the Mobile World Congress together, sitting in a bar, and Jeremy, who was like a consulting agency in AI, told me, I want to organize like some AI workshops in the city. And I say, hey, why don't we make like an AI summit? It didn't exist at that time. And he said, challenge accepted. And here we are.
How did this small idea, which was initially meant to be like a small meetup, turn out to be like a big AI event?
Well, step by step. At the beginning was like a crazy idea, and we thought, okay, well, let's do it. The first step was to check AIsummitbarcelona.com was available, so we bought it. And then we check a place. Then we had like the Glovo place, and we said, okay, let's do it here. And then one first speaker, the second speaker, etc., etc. And little by little was like all crazy thing. And now we're like we will be more than 1,000 people between Glovo, Norscan, Torre Glorious, and it will be great, like with more than 80 speakers. And that's cool.
Cool. Who are the main speakers for this event?
Well, we have a lot. We have a lot of people. Luke Julia will make the opening. We'll have a fantastic closing panel with CTO of the main unicorn in Barcelona, which are like Glovo, Travelperk, Factorial, and we have like companies like Microsoft, Lovable, N8N, a lot of people. Well, we are so happy because like all the AI ecosystem will be here.
Cool, thank you guys, and can't wait to see how it's gonna look like. Thanks. The AI Summit is one of those moments when this ecosystem really comes together. More than 1,000 founders, operators, engineers, and product leaders are gathering here inside Glovo's headquarters to exchange ideas and experiences around AI. Beyond the talks, this event is about people. Conversations over coffee, discussions over cocktails, and real feedback from the field. What works, what doesn't, and what teams are actually building today. For a couple of days, Barcelona becomes a snapshot of the European AI scene in motion. And for those watching this documentary, the most valuable part is happening right here. Throughout the event, we sit down with founders, CTOs, and product leaders to capture honest interviews focused on real use cases, real challenges, and real decisions. These conversations are packed with insight, and they set the tone for what comes next. To lead these interviews, I am not on my own. Throughout the event, I am joined by Danny. Before we dive into the conversations, I will let him introduce himself.
Nice. So I am with Danny Diestre, the host of the biggest Spanish product podcast here. Super happy to be with you guys. And or maybe I could actually you could actually introduce yourself.
Yeah, thanks so much for inviting me. Actually, it has been like it's 3 hours new in this event, and I'm like amazed about how you build that in the first time, and it's so big. So I'm Danny. I'm from Barcelona. I'm a co-founder of a startup in the ecosystem, and I also I'm the host of a podcast that's called Product Leaders, and interview product leaders from Spain. We are not a lot of people, so that's why I'm the biggest one.
But you're the biggest. You're the biggest.
Yeah, I'm the biggest because we are 4 or 3. You know, like it's not.
He's too humble. So Danny lives in Barcelona, that's why he's here today, and I will be joining him actually, or he'll actually been joining me to interview a couple of European tech companies, product leaders and founders mainly, to just like get to know, have a better idea on how they're actually using AI to build products.
And one funny question. You are a great podcaster, eh?
Yeah.
I saw you the questions are good. Because we did a podcast, all right? And just to be honest, you are like, you do the questions like in the way that I like to do the questions too. So really,
Thank you,
it's a 100% transparent opinion.
Cool. I'm actually maybe good by myself, but I'm not used to do it like.
Me too.
So we'll see exactly how it happens.
Difficult.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, can't wait and can't wait for you to see all these interviews.
To start these interviews, we have the chance to sit down with someone who operates AI at real scale. Shiro Tori is the CTO of Glovo, one of Europe's most prominent tech unicorns, coming from Spain. Glovo operates at massive scale, a product used daily by millions of users across dozens of cities and markets, powered by complex logistics, real-time data, and large engineering teams. From dispatch algorithms to marketplace dynamics, Glovo is a product where technology directly shapes growth and execution. When we talk about AI adoption, the comparison between the US and Europe often comes with the same narrative. More skepticism, more hesitation, more caution on this side of the Atlantic. But what does that really look like inside a company of this size? Is resistance to AI still present at the executive level, or is the drive to build stronger than adopt? That is the question I wanted to ask her directly. Maybe to bounce off of that, how does your team, so I mean the engineering team, react when it comes to, again, you're saying that you're trying to kind of make these like new tools, AI tools, adopted as much as you can actually.
Yes.
How do they? I mean, in a lot of companies, engineering teams are quite skeptical or just scared. I don't know if you can tell that, but how is it going?
No, I mean, so this is, I think it really, what's happening right now is that we're seeing an amplification of whatever, you have as a foundational basis or principles or culture in your team, right? So this is just amplifying whatever used to exist before. At Glovo, curiosity is a foundational part of how we build in engineering. And so when this came up, people just naturally became curious about the next thing. So, I mean, it's not to say that there's no hesitation at all, especially amongst, seasoned senior engineers, for example, who are very skeptical about new tools that pop up left, right, and center. But I think the foundational, kind of principle or cultural mindset of curiosity has really helped us to drive adoption up in a very healthy way. So I would say, I think what we're seeing is just an amplification of things that already existed before. So if you had a team that was already super cautious about trying out new things, it will happen with AI as well.
Shiro's optimism is refreshing, but is Glovo's culture the exception rather than the rule? We will return to her insights later, but first, I wanted to confront these questions of skepticism with someone who spent decades building and leading technical teams. That brings us to Dave Garcia, co-founder and co-CEO of Pansera AI. Dave has more than 20 years of experience as a senior engineer leader and CTO in major tech companies. Today, he helps Pansera, an AI-driven platform that gives engineering teams real-time insights into how work actually gets done, turning every tool data into actionable metrics for product, teams, and leadership. I wanted to understand from him why so many engineers in Europe still approach AI tools with caution. Is this resistance rooted in culture, or is the drive to build with AI already winning inside teams?
Yeah. As Danny said, in Europe, you see a lot of skepticism from the engineers.
100%.
Who are, I don't know, again, whatever is the reason behind that, but so you've worked like in the tech industry as like in tech roles for like decades now. I feel like, I don't know exactly how old you are, but anyway, I see that you've been probably like 4 or 5 times CTO different companies.
Yeah, correct.
So you got to that point that you think code-gen tools and all these tools are actually super powerful. But what would you actually tell to an engineer who is actually scared or skeptical about using it? And again, maybe in the best tech companies, this is not something that you hear. But what I can tell you is that in Europe, 70 to 80% of the engineers that I come across with are actually super scared about that. Yeah. And they will find like multiple reasons. And when you actually counter argue the first reason, they will actually find another reason. So what would you tell to these people when you said, again, some people will actually miss the opportunity and the chance to actually the wave? What would you just tell them?
Yeah, just try it. Try to solve a problem with that, and then spend some time with the tool. Because the problem is like people, they come with already the idea that they don't like that. So they find an excuse because they don't like it. No, I put this problem and it didn't solve it, or the code is broken.
Exactly.
Or I tried 2 years ago and Llama 3.1 is crap. Yeah, it's crap. Try Cloud Code, the new version.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Is it perfect? No. But it's going to be, so it's going to make us, all of us, tech leads. So this is a metaphor that I heard from someone that is pretty accurate. We are going to stop being purely coders and we're going to be tech leads. We're going to be telling the machine, do that, the same way tech leads were telling junior people, do that. And junior people can break production the same way as Cloud Code, right? But they're super powerful. They have a lot of energy. They can do it super fast. They are fast learners. The tools is the same. So my recommendation will be, give it a try. Get a free account from one of these. Use it in your personal projects if you want to, and then make your own assessment on that. And my personal one is like I can do things much faster and with much higher quality because I know what I want, right? So when I ask, it's like, this is the test I want, these are the content cases, and then I can check it rather than be having to typing all the fixtures and so it's making myself much faster. If you don't know what you're doing, it's like a monkey with a shotgun. It's really bad idea. But if you know what you're doing and you have a clear idea and you have a way of testing that this thing is correct, by all means.
Yeah.
So do it. And there are different qualities. So if you tested this thing a year ago, it's a completely different picture now.
Yeah, it's incredible.
No, I tested Copilot a year ago, but that's awful.
No,
that
it's
was
incredible.
That's awful. You test Cloud Code now.
Cloud Code is insane.
It's fantastic. It's great. Cursor is great too.
Yeah.
So those are really good tools. But two things. They are not magical. If they tell you they are magical, and some people will tell you BS, they're not going to replace people. In my opinion, many more of us are going to pop up. Like people who were half decent on some areas, they're going to become experts on many areas because, I never coded anything in React.js. Now this thing is going to help me be much faster. You're not going to be the best React coder in the world. Yeah, neither was I before. But it's going to remove a lot of the barriers that we had before, and it's going to make good people better. That's my recommendation.
Yeah. One question, we cannot go, like it's not necessary to go more in deep on technical things, but on your daily job, I think that you will be coding because you are in a small startup and you are doing a lot of things. So my question is, how are you working now with AI on the code gen thing? Because I've seen some things that are quite interesting. One is this swarm of agents, that companies are building around Cloud Code in this case. One agent, for example, for doing this planning thing, features, another for going to FQA, another going through a code review. So how not going more in deep on that, but how do you think the future of code gen in a company like yours, and we'll have a tech leads, all these people will be tech leads, product managers will be around building prototypes. What will be there?
That's a good question. The thing is going to change for sure, but I think we are reaching to a point where if you go faster than your actual capacity, you're going to hit the wall. Like for example, if you got people who are not technical people writing code, pushing to production without technical people in the loop, you are going to be hitting a wall. So there is a learning curve. So like us, for example, we had non-tech people writing, the designer writing a piece of JavaScript. And we said, it looks fine. And we didn't put enough care. And then boom, all of a sudden, we had crazy events going in production. What's going on? The designer pushed that. But you know what? It's not his fault.
But this is happening in the startups.
It happens all the time. We'll have to adapt the way we work, the way we do pull requests. No, I'm using CodeRabbit to do pull requests. Yeah, but put a human in the loop.
100%.
Because CodeRabbit is good, but it's not perfect. The same way as a person is not perfect. No, I think these new machines are closer to humans than they are to machines. And we humans, we hallucinate and we make mistakes and we miss some things. So we have to apply more human-like criteria to the software we produce. Yeah. But I think it's going to change completely. How it's going to look like? No idea.
Don't know.
Completely different. But my recommendation would be for people not to go too fast and to be adopting this thing gradually, because the moment you start saying, no, this thing is pushing to production, no one is checking it, your company is going to last 2 days, literally. You are fine. Literally. But if you start having it a bit of a bit, and then boom, you reach to a point where you feel comfortable, that's fine. And don't follow the trend. If you want to do agents, do agents. If you don't want to do agents, don't do agents. If you want to do copy and paste in ChatGPT, it's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Don't feel ashamed. No, I'm doing copy paste in ChatGPT. That's perfectly fine. I was like this for a year before, and it was perfectly fine. So use it, learn from that, and then adapt it to your way of working.
Yeah, but the thing that it's the reality now is that companies and engineers are going through another, I don't know in English, kappa, the abstraction.
Yes,
no?
yes.
That this is real.
Yeah, of course.
Like people, it's building with natural language, and like this is real. So this is like 1 year ago, it was not like that.
Correct.
It's insane if we think about it.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
Like
it's amazing. It's like, but it's like this might be controversial, but I think kind of the same, but at much more smaller scale happened with Stack Overflow. I remember when people copy and paste the things from Stack Overflow, and it's like, guys, you are putting crap code in your code base because you're copying and pasting from Stack Overflow. Yes, now we're doing it at a scale, But it was fine. Are you solving a problem? Yeah, you have a way of validating that. Yes, that's perfectly fine.
Perfect.
The code doesn't need to be original as long as it works and you have a way of testing it, improving it, and then refining it.
It's more commodity, the code now than ever.
Yeah.
Probably.
Now it's like understanding what is good and what is bad.
Yeah.
Is the new skill, right? Like when you were saying hiring before it's like knowing how to translate from ideas to code. Now is, okay, how do I know what the machine did? So there is a change in the job description, and now you need to understand, when I'm interviewing people, I don't care, they're going to use that. I'm not going to put you, sort this tree, that's fine. Or do this algorithm. I may do it with a super complex algorithm to be able to know that, but the most important part is like, okay, given this pull request, what is wrong? What is wrong here? How do you fix it? Use whatever you want. I don't care. Because the real job is going to be that. No, it's not going to be producing code. Yes, it will, but more is going to be, is this thing making sense? You're going to become a tech lead more than a coder, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Dave suggests engineers are evolving into tech leads, but some are taking this logic much further. I turn to Vincent, who recently stepped away from a CPO role to bet on a more radical future. Companies where AI allows one person to run the entire operation. I asked him how he sees the very definition of product engineering shifting when building comes the easy part.
How do you see the change of the product engineering teams when it comes to how do you see them evolving with the AI wave coming?
So I'll take the most extreme position on this, which is not like how does a existing team transform into something else. I think this will go too slow. This is the reason why I decided to step away from the CPO role, because I could see what needed to be done, and I couldn't see how you can do it from within a few hundred people company.
Yeah.
So when we're starting companies, for us, it's one person that runs the whole company. And the main things that we're looking for, so building got a lot easier. So this person needs to be a little bit tech savvy so that they can build. But the main quality that we're actually looking for is good product understanding. So having a point of view on what is a good onboarding experience, what will make this product a success, how are we going to sell this to customers, and is our product ready to be received by customers in that way? And all these problems actually can be solved by building. And building got a whole lot easier. I would say building got 100 times easier. Growth probably got 10 times harder. And so we're trying to use the building to facilitate the growth, if that makes sense.
Vincent describes a radical future, one where a single person can design, build, and ship an entire product. And let's be honest, the idea that one person could do all of this is hard not to be dream about. But how does that vision translate inside a real team today? To explore that, I sat down with Max from N8N, a German company you probably already know. N8N is one of the most widely used workflow automation platforms, built to connect tools, orchestrate processes, and automate work across teams. So I wanted to understand how a company whose product is all about automation applies these ideas internally, and how AI is already reshaping roles and responsibilities inside their own organization.
Since you've had many job titles within N8N since you started with them, I'll be curious to have your point of view on how AI is actually changing the roles inside those companies with a European vision, because you're actually like based in Berlin.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? And by the way, maybe to complete this question, do you consider N8N as an AI native company when it started?
So when we started, no, because we started 6 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, none. We would, and
So
AI existed, but
but
no.
the wave we know didn't exist.
Yeah, no. What's happening at NNN, like a lot of organizations, is teams are being given time to, well, hey, how could we apply AI? And what I really like is we don't have like an AI mandate, like everything should be AI, or before you hire someone, how is it with AI? What we have at NNN, on each workflow, you can set a time save per run. We have KPIs on how much time we're saving through automation.
Yeah.
So it's not predicating the outcome as AI, which I think is great, because very often you might not need AI. But if you're incentivized to use AI, it's backwards, right? Time save, that's the thing that we really want from AI. So that should be your KPI. So that goal of saving time, I'm seeing influence the teams, because we have a lot of autonomy in our teams. It's a really nice thing about working at NN. But I'm seeing that then drives the teams at their own independent level to say, well, is it this tool? Is it this? Do we need these credits? Do we need access to these resources, this training to go AIify their job? Yeah.
It's about the roles, maybe. About the roles, how do you see them evolve?
I think there's the things you were always doing in a role that you can maybe do faster.
Yeah.
And for, let's say, a PM, that usually means anyone that you can be a bit more strategic or focus on the things where your novel idea generation is important. That's our superpower, because LLMs are not good at novel idea generation. That's one class. The other class, this is way more exciting, because getting 20% of your day saved is probably pretty exciting to some people, but that's not, to me, is the 10x multiplier, 100, whatever, right? I think it's doing all the things that you could never do before. And our muscle is growing on that, because we don't know what we couldn't do before, because our brain never ideated that far, because it never had the bandwidth or the resources for it. Now, like, great example, PMs, every PM at every product company could be monitoring tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of conversations themselves with tools like NNN or other tools in the market. I think that's really exciting. I noticed, great example, someone posted on LinkedIn and they had published a workflow template. They were really proud, they published it, and I want to get in the brain of that person, because they're literally selling it in for us. It's amazing, right? And you got quite a lot of information about them from the profile text. And if you went to the profile, you get that information as well. Thing is, everyone has that information. So what's the next step? You go in the comment threads, they start having conversations with people. And in the comment threads, I learned more facts about them that are useful for my goal than I did from the OP post. But I don't know a single tool in the market, and if it is, probably really expensive, that can think of a person like that, find their post, understand, because there's sub-threads that have sub-conversations, understand that world. I'm pretty confident I could build an AI agent that can do that pretty well and extract that insight. And that's just one post, but doing that at scale, I mean, NNN today scrapes every single YouTube video that comes out about NNN. I have a transcript of every single video. I know what misnomers are being pushed by people. I could go reach out to them. I know if they're in a really big creator that I should give some personal FaceTime to and whatnot. That's all stuff that I can do at scale. So be it a PM, there's so many roles where even if you're not interacting with the public, what you do could get influenced by knowing what they're thinking and doing. And now you can do that at scale in really, really niche, heightened ways that you could never do before.
Yeah.
Max showed us how roles are blending, but scaling an AI company requires a very specific kind of structure. So I sat down with Marcos from 11 Labs, a company you've almost certainly heard of in the AI world. 11 Labs has seen explosive growth by making AI voice generation not just cutting edge, but genuinely usable at scale. Their APIs are powering audiobooks, podcasts, narration, accessibility tools, serving thousands of developers and enterprises worldwide. What is striking about 11 Labs is its dual DNA. Part deep research lab, pushing the frontier of generative voice models, and part product engine, shipping tools that millions of users can rely on every day. That balance immediately reminded me of what we observed in San Francisco. So I wanted to understand how they organize themselves to bridge the gap between the scientists inventing the future and the teams shipping it to users around the world.
in 11 Labs, there is labs, and you say in the beginning that it started as a research lab. Makes me think actually of another company which is called OpenAI, who is kind of much bigger than 11 Labs now, but divided within 2 departments. They've got the research, which is led and driven by Sam Altman himself, and the apps now are led by a French girl called Fijissimo. And so they've kind of, I don't know if they struggle, but like having a lab and having like a sales team working for a lab is not easy. These are like 2 different worlds. You've got like the nerdy engineers and like scientists, and on the other side you've got like all these crazy bulldogs trying to sell the products. How is it going in the 350 people company? As a salesperson, how do you see it? Is it something that you feel being like a whole company itself, and actually you don't see any conflicts or any like like differences between the scientists and your team? Or is it like is it something that is still hard to work with?
Yeah, I would say engineering is the piece in the middle between those two. So you have like the researchers, then research engineering collaborating with engineering, and then the sales team collaborate with engineering. We don't collaborate that much with research directly, but it's a very close, like a very small company. So like we were in the offsite last month, and you met the researchers, and they update you and everything. And of course, like as a remote company, we have like a lot of stuff going on in Slack, and we communicate about like, okay, what's going on in research, because at the end of the day, you have to communicate like the end users. For example, with Catalan, I was discussing yesterday with a customer here, and it's like, okay, but when is Catalan going to come to like real time so you can have conversations in Catalan? And like, even if you are the researcher, you don't know, because it's research. There is no like an exact science that you will say, okay, we will have this next month. It's
they are researching. They are not finding. They are researching.
Yeah, exactly. It's new stuff. It's new stuff, so you cannot like say an exact time. So it's hard because usually it's development. So customers are used to, this is in the roadmap. It will come in 3 months. So this is a bit like of a challenge, but at the same time, they are delivering like super fast. Like we released
you release product insane that like as a user of 11 Labs is insane. The velocity that you release product really insane. Really insane.
The pace as someone inside of 11 Labs is like hard to catch up with everything, and you have everything internally. So I cannot imagine like being an end user. Of course, not every user use everything, because we have from like an app to read your docs to like an API and SDKs to build your own stuff. But it's like, okay, now we have these new newsletters for engineers, and now this new product, and now this feature for this, now music, and it's like new products coming all the time. And that's why I say like every 3 months, and in 6 months, someone will see this podcast and they will say, wow, they didn't have this new model that it will come. But it's all the time like something impressive, even to be like internal.
One thing is certain. AI allows us to produce more and ship faster than ever before. But this velocity creates a trap. How do we ensure that what we're building is actually useful? So I brought Shiro back into the conversation to understand how Glovo distinguishes between a temporary wow effect and sustainable user value.
How do you distinguish between the kind of wow effect that you get out of a new feature like this, and the like a sustained user value, like a value that is actually sustainable? I see that in a lot of products. It is super hard to actually make the difference, and so that would in the end contribute to whether should I actually keep the feature like this, improve it, or just kill it.
So
this is super hard.
No. I mean, it's actually, so it's one of the foundational, I guess, principles in product management, product development. The concept of building, measuring, and learning.
Sure.
So I mean, if I'm launching a feature that's got a wow effect, but is not generating any value or impact through all the metrics that we're using to measure. So every time we launch a new feature, there has to be ways for you to track the performance of the feature. And then we give it sort of, time box period within which we'll take a decision to either scale it up And we usually start launching kind of, in a small city. Typically, because Glovo is in 22 countries, thousands of cities, we'll start with maybe Barcelona, or maybe start with a small city in Moldova. And then if it's successful, we scale it over to, or scale it up to other cities. So it's purely based on, measuring impact and performance, and then deciding, hey, yeah, the traction seems to be good, let's expand it. And that's how we even determined whether to continue with the social bet, for instance, or other bets. So we measure as much as possible, and we use this data to kind of inform whether to go big with some of these features or not.
So there is no difference between an AI-powered feature and like a traditional, if I can call that that way, feature, because normally as a company, and again, there are a lot of companies that don't measure the output. I won't talk about that because that's another debate. But
if it's not performing, even if it's AI powered but it's not performing, and it's not AI powered and it's performing, it's an easy choice.
But if I'm playing a bit, you could actually, there has been this question for Lovable, for example. Lovable. So when Lovable came out, there was this question around what we call the curiosity revenue. Do you know what I mean? I mean by that you actually pay for Lovable, like first month, for example, because you're very curious. The time to value is actually super short, so you get like a lot of value. This is the wow effect, and then you're like, okay, I think I've had my effect. That I'm fine with that, and I'll just give up, and I'll just like withdraw my card. So this is why I was thinking about how do you actually assess what is like the wow effect, kind of impact of a product on a user, and what is the sustained value. So I know this is a tricky part. I think this is very close to, we didn't see that on like normal feature, and this is very amplified by what AI can bring to a product. So this is why I was asking the question, 100%. Which is not easy at all, because we have to take a step back, and this is all very new. So
I think, look, a lot of technology will come and go, but I think there's some principles that will never change. And data doesn't lie, right?
This is very important, by the way. Not to change the principles every time there is something new happening.
Yeah, the methods will always change, but the principles will always remain the same.
Shero relies on data to separate hype from real utility. That assumes something that many companies still struggle with, knowing what success actually looks like. And for large organizations, this is often where friction begins. To explore that, I spoke with Stephanie from Dataiku, a company that works with some of the largest enterprises to deploy AI in real-world environments. Dataiku helps organizations build, deploy, and manage AI systems across teams, products, and business units, far beyond experimentation. So I wanted to ask her a simple question. When it comes to AI, what are the biggest challenges enterprises are really facing today?
Stephanie, you're the Field Chief Data Officer at Dataiku, which is the universal AI platform. That's the way you define it. Since we've got probably 6 minutes left for this interview, what's the biggest challenge when it comes to using AI for building products at Dataiku?
So using AI for our clients, biggest challenges they have is first agree on what is value.
Okay.
And when they tell me value means actually I want to be efficient.
Yeah.
Why do you want to be efficient for?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I try to help them to define value. It's not just economic, it can be social.
Yeah.
For instance, using AI for anticipated maintenance, because if your machine breaks, someone can be hurt. Or it can be cultural value. Let's stop just using English for LLMs. It's a huge issue. It can be environmental value, and I know it's a difficult one because AI is wasting a lot of energy, but defining really the value you want to get will help you to go beyond pure efficiency. So the first of all, agree on value. Second, avoid shadow AI. If you don't do anything, people will use AI anyway, so you'd better anticipate, and to avoid it, train people and let them explore the tools you're going to select. Let them make mistakes and give them time. The third biggest challenge is a lack of collaboration. If AI belongs only to data team, you're cooked.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. Because you will use AI as anyone else. It's not a critique of your data team, but they are not as good as your business units when it comes to solving your business challenges. So you need to have tools which enable business people with no code, low code to check what you're doing, to collaborate. We had a very interesting today workshop with Glovo. And it was all about adding the right context. And the guy was saying the context changes all the time. I can't define. I'm a data architect. I know what we do, but I'm only as good as my collaboration with the business team. So that's my top tips for making sure that you use AI correctly. And maybe the last one would be make sure that you track what you do and it's easy to debug. It's easier said than done, okay? We have traces at Dataiku, which helps you to debug agents. It's not, we're getting there, it's not perfect, but it's completely key to have full visibility because you will make mistakes, it's normal. But you need to be able to spot them fast and amend them.
Stephanie makes it clear that defining value is the strategic foundation, but execution requires precision. Once the system is running, how do we objectively measure if the output is actually correct? That brings us to the concept of evals. I went back to Max to understand how to practically evaluate the outcome of an AI process without getting lost in complexity.
How can we start with evals, Max? Because, for example, I've seen like some small startups that are starting right now, for example, in my case now and in other cases. How do we start doing basic evals, not going super in deep and going with platforms like, I don't know, Langsmith, some things more complex? How can we start doing that things?
Yeah. So, I mean, if you took, like, the way an eval works is you have the ground truth, so like the expected answer. So let's say you have an input question. Let's say a question answer bot. Question, expected answer. That's your eval test, right? The simplest way, if you wanted to run a one-off random eval, open up ChatGPT, get whatever the output was from your AI, and ask it, hey, grade this on 1 to 5 based on the expected answer. And that's an eval. That's an eval. From there, it's all the layers that you add to make them more consistent, automated, etc. But that's one form of eval.
Yeah, but the outcome of an eval, or what is the final goal, is to do some prompt engineering, not to refine the prompt of your agent and all this stuff, and to have a better outcome, no? Yeah. Like how do you have this feedback loop on first eval, then right bad or whatever, and then goes to a change of the prompt, for example.
Yeah. So the goal of evals, why do we invest that time, is so that we understand that the system is reliable, so we can look to the stakeholders and say, yes, this will run 97% of the time. Is that good enough use case? Yes. And then how you do it, let's take a startup. Customer support is a really big use case. Yeah. I know from N8N's data. And what happens? You have a pie chart of answers, and these 30%, let's say it's like free trial related stuff, you're like, easy questions happening all the time. If we could get those automated, the team saves 100 hours, 500 hours. So like, that's where you want to start, right? What are the evals? Go into Zendesk, go into your tool, find a couple representative examples of a real email, a real reply. If that was done with some context, like you went into some system, check their account, get that context and have that available to the AI as well, even if you just manually kind of grab that for the test. That's a perfect step. Cool. For the demo, I created synthetic evals with Claude. Not recommended. Okay, if you don't have something else, but in any company that's trying to do this, if you're solving existing problem, you have existing artifacts of the thing you're trying to solve. So just go look at those.
Max showed us how agile teams use evals to iterate fast, but N8N is a scale-up built for speed. I'm curious, is this level of execution restricted to the startup world, or are major corporations also in the race? I asked Stephanie to explain the reality of building with AI when you are dealing with the complexity of a massive enterprise.
Nice. Maybe a last question?
Yeah, how is working with enterprise? Like, to understand like these big companies with silos, with people that they have different mindsets, different ways. It's interesting for me to understand like how a company that's building a product, how it's building AI, and it's inside an enterprise, because you didn't start now, not as the other startups that we are building things now. Like this is, I think.
Well, you need to be extremely patient.
Extremely patient could be.
Silos, I can't believe it's still a topic, but it is still a topic. And we're redoing exactly the same mistake with agents, building agents on top of silos.
The same as we did before with other things. Yeah.
That kills me a little bit that we're redoing constantly the same mistake. So I'd say if the C-level is not involved, it's not going to change. So the earlier they understand what AI really means, that it creates a lot of effort and that the return is not going to be immediate. And it's also very important for big enterprise to check what startups are doing, because when you are in a big company, you're going to use AI to improve legacy system. You're not going to innovate because you just are not built for that.
Yeah.
Innovation is going to come from startup because they're going to create entirely new workflow
100%.
based on this new technology. And we need to collaborate. That's how it will work.
This builder thing that you mentioned earlier could be the key, no? These builder people that are in this enterprise that
I think it's a bridge, but I think it will be very difficult for companies built some time ago to really truly innovate with AI. Because they keep on having the same challenges that are silos.
It
is complicated. But you have platform. That's why Dataiku was built at the start to democratize data science. Now it's really going further towards agent. But it's about making that collaboration much easier, because that's one step for improving what you have already.
Stephanie described the kind of friction that often slows large, established organizations. But I wanted to look at a company that isn't just talking about this transition, one that is already operating it at scale. That led me to Foundever, a global leader in customer experience with operations across dozens of countries and millions of customer interactions handled every day. Ironically, it's also one of the sectors most often described as the first to be disrupted by automation. Guillaume Laporte is Foundever's Chief Digital and AI Officer. His role sits right at the intersection of technology, operations, and transformation, turning AI from experimentation into something that works across large, complex organizations. So I wanted to understand how Foundever is building with AI at scale, not as a promise of the future, but as a necessity of the present.
What does mean managing AI at a company like this that was founded a long time ago?
So obviously, the elephant in the room is that AI will completely disrupt customer service.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay?
It was the question that I wanted
That's
to
the
answer.
elephant in the room, right?
I just wanted to tell I just wanted you to say it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I can't tell.
It's been said, it's out there. Now, let's be real for 5 minutes. We've been saying that customer service is going to get disrupted for many years now.
Yeah.
Generative AI has been here for 3 years now, and there's still hundreds of thousands of people in the world that are doing call centers. And when you reach out to a call center, you're still very, very, very often talking to a human. There are reasons for that. If otherwise, we would have put AI already in place, right? The reason is that it's very, very hard to provide the same quality of service as a good, well-trained human. And that's the first thing. Many humans that are doing customer service are not well-trained and doing a good service. We all had that bad experience on the phone, right?
Yeah.
But it's very, very hard to do a good customer service with AI while being capital efficient, because AI is very expensive. So if you want to build a voice bot that can do speech to text, text to speech, LLM reasoning, complex dialogue, retain the context, manage knowledge base and standard operating procedures, connect through MCPs and computer visions to third-party tools to do the actions that you want an AI to be doing when you're talking to them, etc., the cost per call is actually more expensive than a human.
Yeah, so, and then you have the human in the loop that it's necessary, for example.
And you still need a human very often, right? So the reality is that it's not that easy to disrupt. So my view is that we don't need to disrupt it, we need to transform it. And the reality of the future, it's a blend of human and AI. We're still going to have humans in very, very much of the activities, but they're going to be enhanced by AI. So we're going to have AI summarize the call automatically, translate the call when it's in a foreign language, erase the accent through the telephone so you don't have a horrible, Spanish, African, or Indian accent that you don't understand. We're going to translate for niche languages where it's very hard to find humans that speak those languages in certain regions of the world. We're going to automate writing, using dictation to be doing chat faster. And we also are going to put AI agents for simple types of calls. So when you're calling and you just need an information, what's the maximum size I can carry with my luggage in this airline? You don't need a human to do that. There's no complexity of going to a third-party system or anything like this. So yes, you can use AI agents. So that's what I'm trying to orchestrate, is trying to figure out what are the capabilities, what are the products that we need to develop for ourselves. So my primary customer is the employees of my company. And actually, as it turned out, it's also an opportunity for growth, because when you do an outstanding service using human plus AI, our customers trust us more and they give us more business. They say, oh, you know what, we're going to allocate more volume to you because you're doing such a great job at servicing these customers in a very cost-efficient way. So, it's also a great way to re-energize a bit the business as well, not just transform how we deliver the service.
Okay, so you said earlier that like out of these 120K people in the world, there are around 5,000, right, on the corporate part of the department of the company. I guess you don't manage like orchestrate that yourself. You've got probably tech teams or like I don't know how it works exactly internally.
Yeah.
Can you give us an overview?
Sure. So I have my own little AI lab, and we called it the AI lab.
Okay, cool.
We're 48 people. Okay. Only A players like 10x engineers and stellar product managers.
Yeah, cool.
Little hint for you guys.
Nice, thanks.
Designers, etc. And we hire very good people that are able to build amazing applications that are being used by the company.
Yeah.
And then on the side now, I also inherit the old proprietary software developments that we do. So think of like our intranet, our IT ticketing tool when someone has a headset that fails, our internal chat GPT, right? All the basics things that a company wants to have, it's also under my purview because now they need to become AI enabled. So we need to turn, the intranet, it needs to be AI enabled. Like you join the intranet and you have the information that are only relevant to you that are coming. And, the IT ticketing tool, when you need, my Salesforce doesn't work, you come in and automatically renew your password and it sends you a new password in your inbox or in the chat. Right? So we're also trying to find ways to transform how we use our proprietary software to run our own corporate. There's a lot of things, right? So hiring, you can use AI agents to do screening calls because we hire and fire 10,000 people every month. So can you imagine the number of calls we're doing from an HR perspective? We are also using better scheduling and planning because you have to schedule and plan 120,000 work hours every week and count those and bill the clients accordingly. So this is called workforce management, right? So you can also use AI to plan better according to the forecast, the volumes, the geopolitical events, etc. You can forecast the resources that you need. So we're using AI everywhere, basically, in the company where we can. Sometimes we do it in the house with the lab. Sometimes we do it with our proprietary capabilities. And sometimes we use third-party vendors. So, we use a startup that provides a good service and we buy the software for them. And, they're happy they have a good contract and we have the capability. We don't need to develop it for zero.
Foundever shows that large European organizations can adapt. But after spending time in San Francisco, the broader difference in mindset is still hard to ignore. To better understand why this gap persists, I sat down with Sasha from AG. AG is building an AI infrastructure platform focused on edge computing, helping companies run AI closer to where data is generated with stronger control over performance, cost, and privacy. It's a very different way of thinking about AI deployment, one that forces teams to confront real-world constraints early. With one foot in Paris and the other in the US ecosystem, Sasha has a rare vantage point. He breaks down the cultural divide between an American ecosystem increasingly obsessed with shipping and iteration and a European one that often moves more carefully, sometimes to its advantage, sometimes at its expense.
I'll be happy to have your thoughts on something. So to give you a bit of context before my question, I was in San Francisco last week to kind of shoot a documentary on how they are actually using AI to build products over there. And from my understanding, the tech and engineering and product teams there are kind of super excited with the fact of using AI on a daily basis to build products. And when you talk to them, all the team, every people, team member in any team are using AI. And I'm talking about sales, go-to-market teams as well. And I feel like the huge gap now, and I went last year and I felt like there were we were at the same stage, to be honest, between Europe and the US. The questions were the same. But now, 1 year after, actually 11 months after, I feel like the gap is actually huge. For one thing, which is that we are the skepticism level in Europe is actually very high, especially among the engineers. From my understanding, the engineers are quite skeptical because, I don't know, maybe they are scared, maybe this is I don't know exactly what the reason. I'm not an engineer myself, but so and that's very interesting because you told me that you guys in your team are mostly engineers. You're all playing and working with all these new technologies. So how come, guys, you're French, you're like based in Europe apparently, and you as engineers are not scared of using all these tools?
So mainly because AG is already international. We have the company is French, but we have another company in US.
Okay.
My partner, Gilles Raymond, lives in the US.
The co-founder or like
the co-founder?
Yeah.
So that's
US
why
is US.
So we've got the explanation actually.
No, I don't think it's the only explanation because, of course, it is about a vision, of course.
Yeah,
and so we embrace that vision. I have the chance to go to San Francisco regularly.
Yeah.
And so it's clear.
Can you feel that? Sorry to get you. Can you feel that? What I said?
Absolutely.
The gap. You feel
the gap is
also.
there.
The gap is there.
But it's a cultural gap.
Yeah.
Here in Europe,
Totally.
especially in corporation, they are super cautious.
Yeah.
They are afraid first, and then super cautious.
Yeah.
And then they start to believe in the evolution and the innovation and start to invest in it. But the fact is now they start to be really, really cautious and afraid a little bit of AI. But I don't see that in the startup. Entrepreneurs in Europe are quite the same than in the US. The difference with the US is that they are super monomaniac.
Yeah.
They only think about AI. And I think it's their superpower, because
they're getting
they
obsessed.
believe in it,
they're
obsessed, and so they do AI.
Yeah.
Period.
Do you think we're still like far behind the US? Now, what's your opinion? Since
not in terms of technology. Not in terms of technology.
No, AI, about AI adoption, for example, like the way we use it, the way we'll use it tomorrow. Because again, what I highlighted is that within 11 months, they took the lead.
Yeah.
Like so much. From my opinion, this is my opinion again, and I'm not saying like 100% of European companies, and we just recorded with someone from 11 Labs just before, which is for me like a very like a highly advanced company in Europe, like compared to the others. But just to complete on what you said in startups you don't see that. Okay, you don't see people that are actually scared in startups, but you see people saying, well, using these tools actually doesn't generate code that will be actually used in the future because it doesn't scale. Or they will say, it works for the front-end side of the product, but the back-end is going to be shit. That's what the people say in startup, I think, which is quite close to being scared, actually, I think.
Yeah, I couldn't disagree. But at the same time, I talk to many entrepreneurs and startups that share the same vision, I think, in Europe.
Yeah.
The only difference is the ecosystem, of course, and the culture behind that. But technologically, Europe is amazing. We have great technology here. And I think we can compete.
And another advantage is to have actually the talent and the technology, like the skills, and maybe just like build companies spread over the US and Europe and be able to actually sell on the US market. This is what you do actually, guys.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think this is the unfair advantage because the hiring markets. I mean, the salaries are much lower in Europe.
Sure.
And so you can actually develop like crazy technologies and be able to just like sell them in the US.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Exactly.
But one question here, to double click here, do you see the adoption or the fear that companies have now to use AI in product-related companies, for example, in the tech ecosystem from France or Spain?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to give names, no, but I don't know. Here in Spain,
give names.
No, I don't know.
Kidding.
It's an example, but marketplace, no marketplace that in like 4 years ago was super hot space. In Spain, we have 4 or 5 marketplaces that are huge.
Glovo
is one. We are here in one. But we have Idealistas. We have Vinted. I think that it's not from Spain, but it's also a marketplace super cool. So these companies more legacy. Do you think that US companies on that stage versus European companies, they are using AI differently? Because for me, this is the point. Because AI startups obviously there are startups AI in Spain, France, and the US, and they will go all in on AI because they are starting now. They don't have anything to lose.
Yeah, exactly.
But legacy companies that they already have product, they already have millions of users.
Yeah, they don't
for me,
know.
it's the difference. This one, no.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
what adopting more?
That's what I said about corporate. Of course, what you mentioned is more scale-ups.
Yes, more scale-up.
So they are able to innovate, for sure. More than
a corporate.
Old organizations, you know. But the fact is the culture is a bit more different, especially in terms of its investment. And in the US, when you think something is a real innovation and everybody's saying the same, so it's really clear, everybody will be on the same page, and in all organization, scale-ups, startup, everybody's betting on it.
It's getting crazy, yeah.
That's it's getting crazy. And
that's the answer.
It's not always a good choice, you know, because some of them are going to disappear as well, you know?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. 100%.
So in Europe, we are more cautious, especially the all organizations, but at the same time, the market reacts not the same.
Yeah.
We have regulation here.
Yeah.
Lower waves, yeah.
Yeah. So that's why
compliance.
Moving too fast could be dangerous. And so I understand that, you know?
Yeah. Like the sweet spot, it's I don't know where, because if you are so fast, probably you will fail for what? But if you are so slow, so there is a sweet spot there. Interesting.
Yeah, but in the end, like great European companies, and like they end up getting acquired by US companies. So
there are plenty of European companies that are acquired by US companies.
Like the M&A market is not mature enough in Europe to Anyway, but that's another topic for another discussion probably.
You have to make Europe greater.
Yeah, exactly.
I arrived in Barcelona with a simple, almost provocative question. Is Europe falling behind? After spending 2 days at the heart of the AI Summit, talking to the people actually building this ecosystem, the answer turned out to be far from nuanced than I expected. From a technological standpoint, there is no debate. The talent is here. European engineers are just as strong as those in Silicon Valley. But the gap does exist. It is not technical. It is cultural. Where San Francisco embraces a near monomaniacal ambition and radical speed of execution, Europe still hesitates. Sometimes slowed down by skepticism, sometimes by fear of the tool itself. As Dave pointed out, we still spend a lot of time asking why we shouldn't use AI, while in the US, it is already the default. And yet, this European restraint might actually be our greatest strength. We don't build for hype, we build for value. From Glovo to Dataiku, the core question isn't can we do it? It is it useful? Less technological demonstration, more focus on reliability, ROI, and long-term impact. What's clear is that the rules have changed for everyone. Whether you are an agile startup like NA10 or a global organization in transformation like Foundever, AI doesn't replace humans. It raises the bar. Code is becoming a commodity, and the engineer must evolve into an architect, a system orchestrator, a true tech leader. So, is Europe behind? If the race is only about speed, maybe. But if it's about building durable products that solve real business problems, the story is far from over. The technology is here, the talent is here. What remains is one final shift, turning caution into ambition.